Hi everybody. This is lesson 2 of confusing words in English, and in this lesson we will cover 20 common word pairs in English that pose problems during use, simply because they sound the same when pronounced or because they have similar spellings. So let's start with our first pair, which is ingenious and ingenuous. Notice that these words differ by just one letter. An I in ingenious versus a U in ingenuous. Their meanings are quite different though. You can differentiate them with the help of the simple memory aid that ingenious has the word genius in it, and genius is someone who is very clever and intelligent. The word ingenious describes someone or something that is marked by cleverness, originality, and resourcefulness, like probably an ingenious scientist or an ingenious device. This word has a positive connotation. Ingenuous, on the other hand, describes someone who is very artless and shows innocent or childlike simplicity and frankness. The word ingenuous has a slightly negative overtone. One sentence exemplifying both words is, "The ingenious kid was amused at the ingenuous expression on his sister's face when he showed his new invention to her." The second word pair is amiable and amicable. The words hail from the Roman god of love, known as Amor or Cupid. Several words including amiable and amicable have this root meaning love, and you can easily memorize these words using this connection. Amiable, in short, is someone who is very lovable. The word amiable describes a person who has a friendly, cheerful, and pleasant manner. While amiable describes a person, the word amicable is more suitable for describing the relationships or connections between persons. Amicable refers to something like an agreement or a meeting which is characterized by friendliness and peacefulness. Like we can say that the meeting resulted in an amicable agreement between the two parties, or that the negotiations during the meet were quite amicable and the couple parted with an amicable divorce settlement. One tip to help you remember this difference: both amiable and amicable mean friendly, but amiable is used for a friendly person and amicable has an extra C, which stands for friendliness in connections or contractual relationships. A sentence example for both words would be, "The participants in the contest were quite amiable," which means friendly and pleasant, and even though there were a few minor issues between them, they amicably, which means with friendliness and peacefully, resolved them. The third pair is discreet and, discrete. Note the difference in their spellings. You can memorize these two words easily with this simple mnemonic. The first one, discreet, describes someone who is very careful and prudent in one's speech or actions, especially in order to keep something confidential or to avoid embarrassment. Note that you can rearrange the last 6 letters to form the word secret. So just remember, one who wants to keep something a secret and is hence careful and cautious in one's speech or actions is best described as discreet. The other word is discrete, which means individually separate and distinct. And in fact, the word separate is a perfect synonym for discrete. Note that the spellings of both separate and discrete end in TE, and this will help you tell this discrete from the other one. I would quote a recent news as an example for the meanings of these words. The Tata Group, where each company in the conglomerate operates as a discrete or separate entity, requires a discreet or prudent and careful handling of the situation arising due to the ouster of its chairman Cyrus Mistry in order to prevent further damage to its reputation. Next word pair is illicit versus illicit. This one is easy to remember as illicit starting with an E is a verb, while illicit starting with an I is an adjective. So for example, one can elicit something like a reaction, answer or fact from someone which means to evoke or draw out. Like you can see that the journalist is trying to elicit a response from this lady. Illicit, on the other hand, can be best remembered through its synonym, illegal. Illicit mostly means illegal and describes something that is forbidden by law or rules, such as illicit drugs. Though the word illicit can also describe something that is morally wrong or against societal norms. Like we can say that illicit affairs have led to many honor killings. A sentence example for both words is, the journalist tried hard to elicit a few scandalous stories from the gangster's mistress, but she kept all knowledge of illicit goings-on discreetly to herself. Next word pair is founder versus flounder. In its primary sense, founder means to sink below the surface of the water. Like we know that Titanic, a huge ship built in the last century, foundered after colliding with an iceberg. By extension, founder means to fail utterly or to come to nothing. Flounder, on the other hand, means to move in an awkward way with a lot of difficulty and effort, or to act with confusion and uncertainty. A good example for flounder is blunder, which almost rhymes with flounder. Let's look at one sentence which highlights the difference in meanings of these words. In company meetings and presentations, he floundered or struggled and made blunders like an inexperienced and unrehearsed guy. As a result, his career foundered or failed utterly as he was fired by several employers. Next pair is an easy one, cash versus cache. While the first word cache refers to a safe place, typically one that is hidden or inaccessible, that can be used to store supplies such as food, treasures, ammunition, etc. The second cache is too well known for me to elaborate. It obviously means money. For example, she stored her jewelry and cash in an underground cache. A very interesting and commonly confused word pair is uninterested versus disinterested. We know that both the prefixes, that is un and dis, mean not and are normally known to form opposites. So how do you differentiate the two words? Here is one hint. It is the word uninterested that carries the meaning of not interested in something or someone. For example, a boy proposed to his classmate, but she was uninterested in his proposal and so refused. In contrast, the word disinterested means free from self-interest or having no personal interest in something, and such a guy is expected to be unbiased or impartial about an issue. So disinterested means impartial or not influenced by considerations of personal advantage. An example sentence highlighting this difference is, we brought in a disinterested mediator to facilitate the negotiations, but the other party seemed uninterested in our offer. Then we have the words desert and dessert. It's again an easy pair, complicated only by the fact that the first word desert has two different meanings. One meaning is, as we know, the meaning contained in names such as Sahara Desert or Thar Desert, where desert means a waterless area with little or no vegetation, typically one covered with a lot of sand. The same word desert can also be used as a verb in a different meaning, which is to abandon a person, cause, or organization in a way that is considered disloyal or treacherous. For example, the boy was beyond himself with grief when his girlfriend deserted him. The word dessert can be confused with the word dessert sometimes, which means a sweet course eaten at the end of a meal, like a pastry perhaps. Let's see an interesting sentence with both words. After walking for miles in the sweltering heat of the desert, we were so relieved to drink lemon soda and eat a cool dessert. Next pair is bridal and bridle. While bridal is a common word that refers to a bride or concerns a newly wedded couple, the word bridle is less common and stands for the headgear used to control a horse, consisting of buckle straps to which a bit and reins are attached. In this meaning, the word can also be used as a verb, as in the phrase to bridle a horse. One unique meaning of the word derives from the natural reaction of the horse when you try to control it with a bridle. It can be expected to show resentment and anger, which is another meaning of the verb bridle. For example, she bridled at his sarcastic tone. One example sentence with both words is, all eager to meet his bride, who would be dressed in her bridal attire, the bridegroom held on to the bridle of his horse. Our next word pair is an important one. Venal versus venial. The word venal describes someone who is susceptible to bribery and can be corrupted easily. The word venal can be memorized easily if you just consider the fact that the word shares its roots with vendor, meaning a person who puts something up for sale. Another hint word is vending machines, which are a point of sale for candies, drinks, etc. Similarly, and note my words, venal is someone who sells himself unethically for personal gain by accepting bribes, etc. Its confusable word, venial, has an extra I in between. Venial describes something like a fault or an offense which is minor and hence forgivable. Means it can be overlooked. Like I can say that if your servant breaks your glass vase by mistake while he is cleaning a room, it would be considered a venial fault. A sentence for both words is being venal one of the venial sins which can be overlooked? Certainly not. We are halfway through and our next word pair is afflict versus inflict. Both afflict and inflict cause pain, but we use afflict to focus on the person who is suffering from pain, hardship or illness, etc. due to maybe a disease or some other problem. Like I can say, a lot of people were afflicted by an outbreak of dengue and jaundice this year. The word inflict, on the other hand, is used to focus on that somebody who causes pain or suffering to others or imposes something unwelcome and unpleasant on others. For example, he inflicted pain on his enemy by hitting him with a whip. Here is one sentence that brings out the difference in meanings of these words. The attackers inflicted or caused to suffer serious, life-changing injuries upon the victims who were already afflicted, which means suffering due to a host of problems like a severe shortage of food, clothing and medicines. Then we have an easy one, aisle versus aisle. While the first aisle refers to a passage between rows of seats in a building such as church or theatre, an aircraft or even a train. The second aisle is the short form of an island or peninsula, especially a small one. An example for these words is, in a lavish wedding ceremony held at an aisle, a private estate, everyone cheered as the bride walked down the aisle in her beautiful gown. Now this is one pair in which the words are so common and we use them almost every day, but there can be some confusion in spellings. So lose with a single O means become unable to find something or someone. Like this boy seems sad. Did he lose his favorite toy? Lose also means to cease to have or retain something, like to lose one's appetite or to lose one's mind. Lose with a double O, on the other hand, means not firmly or tightly fitted or fixed in place, like maybe a loose tooth or loose jeans. Let's look at this sentence as an example for both words. She started exercising a month ago, which has helped her lose 8 kilos. Now all her clothes have become loose. Balmy versus barmy. Well, balmy describes a pleasantly warm weather. One cool hint to help you memorize this word: a warm, balmy weather acts like a balm for our body and reduces all our health woes. And barmy means mad, crazy, or extremely foolish. So I can say, it's a balmy day. The children are playing outside while I am penning down barmy ideas for my new book. Next pair is yoke and yoke. The first yoke is a wooden crosspiece for harnessing a pair of oxen. It is fastened over the necks of two animals and attached to the plough or cart that they are to pull. The word is also used to refer to something that is regarded as oppressive or restrictive. Like we can say, until the last century, many countries around the world, including India, bore the yoke of imperialism. Yolk, on the other hand, refers to the yellow center of a bird's egg. Then we have the word pair, diffuse and diffuse. The word diffuse means to remove the fuse from an explosive device such as a bomb so as to prevent it from exploding. In this meaning, it can also be used for any situation that has been made less tense or dangerous, just like the case would be when a bomb is prevented from exploding if you defuse it. The other word is diffuse, which means to spread out over a wide area. The interesting part about this word is you can use it for just about anything. Like the gas molecules can diffuse across a membrane, and here you can see an air diffuser diffusing scent across the room. I can even say that any new technology or medical invention diffuses rapidly in our times. A sentence highlighting this difference in meanings is: the room had an air diffuser diffusing a mild aroma and generating a pleasant and conducive atmosphere for discussions. But given the intense nature of argument between the two parties, a mediator was required to diffuse the tension. Next, we have the words born versus born. Born means having started life or existence like a newly born baby. Though the word can also describe a natural or inborn ability to do a particular job. Like I can say, he is a born singer. Born, on the other hand, is a verb that is used when something, such as germs, etc., are carried or transported by the specified medium, which could be water, air, etc. So, for example, a newly born baby should be kept in clean surroundings, free from germs and airborne diseases. The words in the next pair are very important as they commonly feature in various exams. Insidious and invidious. Insidious. By the way, we have covered this word before in root words lesson number 20. The root word sid means sit, and the word insidious literally describes something that sits inside and lies in wait for you. Insidious describes something that will attack subtly and proceed in a gradual manner, but with very harmful effects. All societal evils such as female feticide, dowry, etc. can be described as insidious because they slowly but surely weaken the fabric of a society. Invidious, on the other hand, and there is a hint here, closely resembles the word envy. Anything that can cause envy or rather jealousy, and these feelings come with their share of resentment and other bad feelings, can be described as invidious. For instance, it is very common in households to compare one sibling with other. But such invidious comparisons generally don't go down well and may cause a lot of resentment and ill feelings in kids. Here is one sentence highlighting the difference in meanings of these words. The sudden demonetization announcement aimed at curbing the insidious or harmful problems of black money and corruption has put the government in an invidious position, which means tending to cause discontent, resentment, and enviousness, as the opposition is united and up in arms against the government on this issue. Closer to the end, we have the words insure versus insure. While insure simply means to make sure or to make certain that something will occur or be the case. Like before going on holidays, you would probably like to ensure that everything is taken care of and would perhaps make a checklist of things to do before you depart or things to take along with you. Insure is a closely related word that may have evolved from insure, but nowadays when we hear insure, the first thing that comes to our mind is an insurance policy that provides compensation if a person dies or property is damaged. That's the exclusive meaning in which we use the verb insure. So, we would like to ensure that we and our belongings are safe and would have an insurance company insure us just in case something does happen. And finally, we have the pair DEMUR versus DEMURE. To demur means to object to a statement or suggestion or to hesitate and show reluctance, but being polite in this act of disagreeing. And demure is an adjective that is used to describe a woman and her behavior when she appears to be reserved, modest, and shy. By the way, demure sounds like mew of a tiny kitten, if that helps you memorize the meaning of this word. One sentence that brings out the difference between the two words is, the parents were surprised and disappointed to see their demure, which means modest, reserved, or shy daughter, demur at or show reluctance to the suggestion that she should marry a boy of their choice. So that brings us to the end of this lesson. If you liked it, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe our channel. There's a lot of other stuff related to English vocabulary on our channel, which I am sure will keep you interested. And thanks for your interest.